It's hopefully working. Welcome to Latinos for Trump. Be sure to like the page. As you see, we are Latinos for Trump. We want to make America great again. My name is Jonathan. I'm reporting here from Houston, Texas, representing Latinos for Trump in Texas. Thank you for tuning in, and let's get straight into it. So, as for those of you that don't know me, I did a video this past week. On Friday, I did two videos, in fact. One about Ted Cruz and why he needs to be elected as senator here in Texas. And likewise, I also did a video about talking points that the White House has put out. Talking points that goes from low unemployment. It talks about the high stock market and how the confidence is very high at the moment, as well as cybersecurity and how we want to make sure that the internet is free from adversaries of any type of form. Likewise, we also talked about Hurricane Florence and all the people that were affected, especially those in the Hurricane Florence. So, of course, let's get straight into it. This title for this video, as you can see in the video, is about Kavanaugh. Kavanaugh as Supreme Court Justice and Ted Cruz being run out a restaurant. So those are two big things that have been happening at the moment. So let's dive straight into it. So the first thing I want to talk about is Kavanaugh. So Kavanaugh is on my radar at the moment as he is being slammed for various things at the moment. So the first thing is, why is he President Trump's pick? Well, why don't you say, there's actually an article I have here, and the article basically talks about how he is the best choice for President Trump. So we have here the article from Real Clear Politics, and basically it's talking about how Trump needs somebody like Kavanaugh, somebody that has a great record like Kavanaugh. And of course, the whole point of doing this is being sure that you can see all the sources I'm seeing. So this is from Real Clear Politics. It's an unbiased news source. It's very high in its news reporting. So I thought this would be a good pick to talk about how we Latinos that support Trump need to stand behind Kavanaugh. Kavanaugh is President Trump's pick for the Supreme Court. He wants Kavanaugh on the bench for a reason, because he wants to put actual conservative values back into the Supreme Court justice. When we put Neil Gorsuch and we imported him, we realized that yes, we're doing good things. As conservatives, we want to make sure that we can continue this movement of putting more conservative values back into the government. And this was one of the biggest steps, is making sure that we secure the bench, the Supreme Court, the highest court in the nation. So basically here, Real Clear Politics sets it up very straight that, it says here, over 20% of voters in the 2016 election identified the Supreme Court as the single most important factor in their decision, and the majority of this group, 52%, voted for Trump. And you have to keep this in mind. And the biggest part here is, look at it. It says this was partly due to President Trump's historic campaign, during which he frequently identified two legal issues central to his agenda: restoring the nation's religious heritage and protecting our fundamental liberties, namely the right to bear arms. And I think this is the biggest thing that we need to keep in mind. So this is why Trump is truly trying to make sure that Kavanaugh is being pushed to be elected as Supreme Court Justice. So I also have another one. I know a lot of people will say, well, Trump is only doing it because he's just a conservative. He has all he is. No one across the aisle is really wanting to pick him. But I'll tell you that is not the case at all. And actually, if you look here, I have an article from the New York Times that says a liberal's case for Brett Kavanaugh, and this is from Mr. Amar, who is a professor at Yale Law School, and this was just put out in July. And I'm going to read you an excerpt of it. I'm going to scroll down so you can see it. But I want you to be able to tag along and see what I'm reading. So I'm going to read it. Let's see here. So I think the biggest part was this. In 2016, I strongly supported Hillary Clinton for president as well as President Barack Obama's nominee for the Supreme Court, Judge Merrick Garland. But today, with the exception of current justices and Judge Garland, it is hard to name anyone with judicial credentials as strong as those of Judge Kavanaugh. He sits on the United States Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit, the most influential circuit court, and commands wide and deep respect among scholars, lawyers, and jurists. And this is someone that has respect, and this is what this is what the writer is talking about, Mr. Amar. He's talking about he himself is a liberal, a person that supported Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama's nominee for the Supreme Court, and he's explaining how he believes that Kavanaugh is an excellent selection for it. And I actually want to go down because there is a point where he says that, quote, this will be a mistake. Justice Kavanaugh is, again, a superb nominee. And let me scroll down to that. Here it is. This, right here, this would be a mistake. Judge Kavanaugh is, again, a superb nominee. So, this is the thing. We have a liberal, he says, I am liberal. Yes, I'm liberal. But he says, you know what? I'm going to put all my politics to the side and say, you know what? Brett Kavanaugh truly is someone that has the qualifications and is fit for it. Fit for being a Supreme Court justice pick. And, I know that goes down to a lot of things. So, it goes down to, of course, what is being done. And actually, we're not going to be in this article quite yet. We're going to go to I do want to read this one. It says, despite new accusers, Democrats war on Brett Kavanaugh, and it could truly cost them in the midterm elections. So, and this is a report from USA Today. When you have the USA Today saying that if the Democrats continue this war on Brett Kavanaugh, it's going to cost them the midterm elections. I think this is where the Democrats have to back up and say, okay, this is not working for us. Maybe we do need to put him as Supreme Court Justice. Maybe we do just need to say yes to him and move on with our lives instead of procrastinating this and everything that's happening. I think this is what needs to be done. And the more they keep this war on Brett Kavanaugh, as this article talks about, they truly are just stalling, and they're doing it for political reasons because they don't agree with them. But there is actually another article that I do have in my hand that I do want to read, and that is not on there, on the sources. I do have it in my hand right here. And it's from the Washington Examiner. And it says, if they cannot prove the charges which have been put on Kavanaugh, senators must confirm Kavanaugh. And this is absolutely true. If all what is being said cannot be proven true, all of these charges, Kavanaugh needs to be accepted. We need to stop procrastinating. We need to get behind Trump and say, yes, this is the person that we want to put as Supreme Court Justice, and this is what this Washington Examiner article is talking about. And they're doing this, and they need to vote. They need the Democrats on the Judiciary Committee need to vote. They need to vote either yes or no. Very simple. But the thing is, they know Kavanaugh will be put or will be elected as or confirmed as Supreme Court Justice, and they understand this, and the only thing they can do is to stall. What is the most logical thing for them to do? They want to stall to the midterms. They think that in the midterms that they will win a majority of the midterms, gaining back a lot of seats, which would disallow Trump from having his nominee selected and put onto the bench. And that is something that we have to be very careful with as a nation. We really do need to put this man. If this man is proven to be not guilty of the charges, we need to put him as Supreme Court Justice. And I know a lot of people are saying, well, we want to make sure that we listen to these people that are making these claims against him. And I say, absolutely, let's listen to these people. However, we must be very wary of this, because why do these accusations come at a time that's very convenient for the Democrats? Why are these people coming at times that, as days before he is confirmed as a Supreme Court Justice, these people then come out and say, well, this, Mr. Kavanaugh, when he was 17, sexually harassed me and put his hand over my mouth. While the girl was 15, he was 17. That is the claim, but of course there have been several, people like conservative lawyers like Ben Shapiro that work on stuff, and especially that his lawyer Ben Shapiro talks about in the video of how unlikely that it is not true because of all the facts of all the statutes are being put there. For example, of how the woman that is accusing Kavanaugh cannot recall many things. And I was talking to someone about this, saying, when you go through a traumatic experience such as sexual harassment or sexual assault or even rape, you will remember these things. These things will be ingrained in your mind, and they will haunt you. And yes, sometimes it will keep you from actually coming out and telling somebody. But in the process of all this, you can't remember what happens. I'm not sure. And especially something as dramatic as that, I will be very weary about what we're accepting, saying what is true. So I do want to move this to another direction. I do want to talk about an article that did come up about what happened with Ted Cruz that was harassed this past week. And the issue, there's a lot of issues with this. One, the issue, and there's no issue, of course, with protesting. I absolutely am not. That is not what I'm advocating for. I'm not advocating for let's stop protesting. What I am advocating for is allowing people to live in peace. Let's not be rude. Let's be decent people. Let's stop getting in the faces of politicians that support Kavanaugh or support the Trump administration or support the conservative values that people hold true in their campaigns. Let's stop slamming these people. It is not, let me not say it in a way of us, because truly it's not Americans, it's people that are on the extreme left that are wanting to intimidate these conservatives. They want to intimidate Ted Cruz. They want to intimidate people in the Trump administration like Sarah Huckabee. They want to pressure other people. They're not even in the administration, but they are in the world politics. People like Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens, conservative people from Turning Point USA. We need to support these people because these people are supporting Kavanaugh. Kavanaugh is truly a great man, like I talked about before with the New York Times, the case of a liberal's case for Brett Kavanaugh from our beloved Amar professor at law school. So we do need to continue understanding that there are people that are on the liberal side that do side with Kavanaugh. and if he's signing with Kavanaugh, he's signing with Trump this one. So I have here another article, and this is from The Hill, and this is basically Don Lemon having a say about what happened with Ted Cruz. And you see at the top it says Don Lemon on harassment of Cruz's wife, and he basically says that's what he signed up for. And if you look at, I'm sorry, but it's absolutely ridiculous what Don Lemon actually, he said this. It's absolutely ridiculous. When someone is elected as a government official, you're not saying, I want to be harassed. What you're saying is, I want to serve my constituent. I want to serve the people in my community and help build the community. However, Don Lemon doesn't see it like this. Don Lemon, as he said, is when you go into the world of politics, and actually let me quote him, and let's actually go back to what he says here. It says, CNN host Don Lemon said late Tuesday that while he didn't like the fact that Senator Ted Cruz and his wife were harassed and driven out a Washington, D.C. restaurant of protesters, it's what Cruz, quote, signed up for, end quote, as a public official. And, of course, he talks about, I don't like it because, that's one reason I'm not a public official, and that's not why I'm running for office. But then if you look right here, it says, in a way, I think it goes with the territory. I don't like that they're blocking his wife, but that is what he signed up for. And as a strict constitutionalist, which Ted Cruz says, he knows it is protected under the First Amendment. And absolutely, and like I said, it is absolutely protected under the First Amendment. But when you go to the length of being indecent and, disturbing people while they're trying to eat and kicking them out of a restaurant just because you don't agree with their politics, I think that's where you're crossing the line. You're crossing that fine line of, okay, where's tolerance at? Where's the tolerance that Don Lemon likes to talk about? Don Lemon is absolutely wrong on this issue. This is not what Ted Cruz signed up for when he said, I'm going to be a senator for the great state of Texas. Don Lemon absolutely gets this wrong. He needs to really look into what a public servant is, and that's what Ted Cruz is. He is a public servant to the people, representing them at Washington, D.C., and I think he doesn't deserve to be harassed, nor his wife, nor his family, nor any politician, nor any person of any political belief or any side of the aisle. They should not be harassed. It's absolutely disgraceful that someone that has a platform such as Don Lemon would absolutely, have the audacity to say a statement like that. So I would say, let's support the people, especially here as Texans. We need to support Ted Cruz and his cause, especially against Beto O'Rourke. And I'm gonna close this out. If you haven't already, please go register online. Register to go vote in this midterm election, especially if you're in Texas. Please